It's so fast and explosive, and seniors everywhere and playmakers everywhere. And don't forget about Hill. They can run the football. You know, you get to a point where it's so polished. You know, you go back and watch them last year and you say to yourself, wow, they're unbelievable. And then you watch it this year, and normally what ends up happening is, you know, whether it's read your press clippings, you hear how good you are, and then for whatever reason it doesn't click, and it's like not even remotely close to that. It's actually gotten better. So credit to their staff, credit to them and their development of players. You know, you go back and take a look at some of these guys coming out of high school, and you know, maybe not the 4 or 5 star player, but godly, they're 7, 8 star players now. So I mean, they've done a great job in their staff of developing talent, especially, you know, offensively. So I mean, they're impressive and they're explosive. That's probably the biggest thing is you turn around, it's 21-0 before you even know it, and it could be 16 plays. That's how good they are. They can throw the ball down the field, but they also can run it.
What has it been about Hill that you like, that you've seen so far?
Oh, I mean, he runs with his shoulders down. He probably runs because he probably thinks he probably won't get the ball much, so because he'll be throwing it so much. But he can hit the long one on you, and he runs that way. Sometimes you get backs that run, they hit a hole, and they kind of gather themselves and think, okay, I got my 17 yards, 18 yards. If you give him space, he's down the sidelines. He did it last week, you know, versus Baylor. So, but I will say this part, I got a ton of respect for him for how hard and physical he runs. That's the combination that, you know, as a defensive coordinator, okay, is he a physical guy? Great, but maybe he's not that fast. He's a fast guy, but maybe he's not that physical. This kid's both.
You've seen Sam Darnold,
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield,
Mm-hmm.
now you get Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
Sorry. How does Mason compare to the other guys that you've seen so far?
Just probably physically, you know, the biggest, but in terms of throwing the ball down the field, the most dynamic of them. I mean, not that Baker can't, and you know, but I mean, there's got to be like 14, 15, I'm talking about like 40 to 50 yard throws a game, which is like unheard of. It's normally you take 4 or 5 shots, okay, call it a day, but I mean, he must have to rest his arm every other day, in my opinion, because it's the throws that he makes. But he has unbelievable touch on the deep ball. That's where he's exceptional, that he gives his guys a chance to make every play when the ball goes up into the air deep. And then he's very accurate to go along with getting them in and out of plays. I think that's where they're all similar. They all know their system. They're all extremely bright. So you really don't need a coach making calls. You just go and say, hey, this is the look. If they give you this, get us this play. If you like the matchup, throw the ball down the field. And that's what makes all 3 of the quarterbacks great. But his ability to throw the deep ball, to me, separates him from the 2 other guys.
Todd, you don't like to rotate guys in the back 7.
Yeah, gonna have to.
So what does it come down to for you as to when you rotate guys?
We're gonna have to. I mean, here was my thought on a couple teams that we were facing. They came in there, and at least what they showed on film was going really fast. And then they came into our games, and for whatever reason, maybe they wanted to check plays at the line of scrimmage or do whatever they wanted to. They slowed down a little bit. So we try to get a count on plays. Okay, this series went really fast. These guys just got extended. Let's put X, Y, Z in. But when we get into situations where maybe it's only a 5 to 7 play series, I think when we get them to the bench, as long as we're out there on offense extending drives, I think we all feel good about that. But in my opinion, with this game, because they did it to us last year, it was hair on fire, and it was like practice. I mean, it was like there was managers on the field spotting balls. I mean, it was insanity. So I think when we get that part of it, we'll have no choice. I think our kids will. I mean, to me, putting somebody on the field that's 60%. And then having maybe a guy less talented, but at least he's 100% is still better. So we're playing that by ear all the time. It just happened to be so far in this league that we haven't seen hair on fire. But in my opinion, we are going to see hair on fire with these guys because they've done it versus everybody.
Offenses and quarterbacks are going after Chris Boyd. I'm sure you see that on film.
Absolutely.
You know, do you look at Antoine Davis to see if, you know, maybe he gets some more playing time, or do you just work with Chris a little bit more?
Well, I think the thing that we did with Chris was, and this started last week, is we took a handheld camera and we put on Chris in practice, the whole practice in terms of every rep that he took. So we knew exactly where Chris's eyes were, exactly where his keys were. You know, Jason's been working. We showed him the video. And to me, that we all know the talent's there, okay? And to me, it's reaching the kid and getting him better, okay? When somebody steps up in our program, whether it's Devontae, whether it's Josh, whether it's Anton's a little bit of a reach, but whoever wants to challenge him for that spot, go ahead and take the guy's job. But you do it in practice. So to me, Chris is doing the things that he needs to do in practice, but where he's doing what Chris's biggest deal is making sure that he takes his training and applies it to the game. Don't go into this thing and all of a sudden it's like, throw it all out the window, I'm just going to go out here and do my deal. And that's the biggest thing that we're working with him. You know, that kid loves football. There's a ton of talent in there, and it's my job, it's Coach Washington's job, and it's everybody's job in this program to get him to focus in and do his job at a high level. Because when he does do that, he's got first day talent. There's no doubt. I think we all see that. And even the play that he got beat on, I mean, did probably everything humanly wrong that you could do. But he puts his head down and runs to that receiver. He had the speed to bat that ball down. For as bad as that was, you know, for everything that he did incorrectly off of that. So it's there. We got to get it out of him. And myself included with Jason, and we got to work our tails off him, whatever it takes to get that guy playing at a high level because we need him.
Todd, when you look at the chunk yardage plays, a lot of passing game, how do you go about just the process of breaking those down, figuring out what went wrong, and then trying to replicate what Oklahoma State's going to do in practice as hard as.
Well, here's what we do. I mean, right off the bat, I mean, there wasn't a play out there that, you know, you look at it and say to yourself, like, okay, that was, you know, it was whatever. I mean, we went off to the sidelines and we knew exactly what happened. For whatever reason that goes in. Now, some of the plays difficult based on some of the stuff that we're doing. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, if we have a coverage called where a guy's one-on-one, he's one-on-one and he's got to make that play. If we need to help him schematically, we'll help him. There's no doubt about it. But then we go on Sunday and we get things cleaned up if there's an issue with it. And there's nothing in that, you know, in that game that was, in our opinion, it was maybe difficult, but not sitting there saying like, oh man, they just got us.
Right.
So, I mean, they're creative play callers. You know, Lincoln Riley's really, really good at what he does. The guys from SC, the guys from Oklahoma, everybody in this league is extremely talented. So in my opinion with it is, okay, hey, listen, let's go into this, make sure that we teach these kids day in and day out of some of the stuff that maybe wasn't on film that you might end up getting, or refreshing that from what we've seen in fall camp, because that's what you try to do. Try to go into fall camp and give them every kind of thing, that hard versus a coverage, and then just kind of refresh it. And I think our kids get off that field, and I think Chris on that one play, and there's a couple other plays in there, I think they can look at themselves and say, man, if I'd have really dialed myself in, I would have been okay. Instead of going off the field and going like, I had no clue. I don't sense that. You know, if that, because I would step up here and I would say to you like, hey, that's on us, man. We got to do this better. We got to do this. I just think heat of the battle stuff, and I think the execution towards the tail end of games when you're playing guys that are really good, that's what we got to keep working on. Because we obviously, if you can play, you know, a quarter and a half of really damn good football. The one thing I'm extremely proud about with this crew was we were on the ropes in the beginning of that game, and we could have buckled. And we came out, we settled down, John got the pick, we came out in the second half, and in my opinion, played lights out. You know, we get into the 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and in my opinion, we've got all the momentum, just like we had in SC, and then all of a sudden, we make a critical mistake. That's the part that we've got to focus in on. That's the part that it's coaching better, it is really focusing in those moments better, and we can all do a better job of it.
Was Brandon supposed to stay with Andrews on that play? So what, you know, you love Chris Brown, does he need some?
No, it's not that. Listen, the guys that are out in the field are the guys that have done it at a consistent basis in practice all the way through. Unfortunately for you guys, you don't get a chance to experience what goes on in practice and see the film what goes on. If you're on that field, you're our best guy and our most reliable guy. And like I said beforehand, if XYZ, whether it's Chris or whether it's somebody else, has outstanding weeks of consistent practice, you will see him on the field. That's anybody. You know, our job is to put the best guys on the football field, and that's where we're at right now. So what does that mean? That means constantly getting better. But like you said beforehand, in a game like this, will there be rotation? Will you see different guys? Absolutely.
So a guy like
Two
Hager,
more for Coach?
who leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss, second in tackles. Now Taquan Graham's getting reps ahead of him at defensive end.
Well, I think it's a combination of a couple things. Okay, so TQ is a bigger body guy. Okay, Brecken to me is our third down specialist guy. So you'll see him out there rushing the quarterback. So it all goes into a role. You come in there and you say, okay, Oklahoma State's going to run 80 plays. Brecken Hager's going to get 30%. TQ is going to get XYZ. And that's how we try to do it. Now, in the flow of the game, something happens. We don't know what those numbers are. But before the game's even started, myself and Coach Giles have already predetermined who's getting what. And in terms of Brecken's standpoint, Brecken's a little bit different because he'll be our guy that goes in there in our dime package on third down. So it's a little bit different.
What's been your message as far as like wrapping up? You know, we know like Charles almost had a sack.
Yeah.
He missed that. Malik came close, got chipped at the end. Like, what's been your message as far as just the wrapping up this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of what we just continue doing in practice. I think some of those angles, and I think, you know, Baker Mayfield's pretty good too, so he can torque his body and put you in some weird spots. But try not to. I just, in my opinion, some of that stuff is just kind of part of the game where he made a play, we didn't make a play. Why didn't we make a play? I just, in my opinion, with Malik, it's like, hey, this is what you did wrong. I'm not going to beat up Malik Jefferson. I'm not. He doesn't need that. Malik Jefferson's a very prideful guy. Malik Jefferson wants to make every play. He doesn't need Coach Orlando ripping his tail. He needs him to coach him on why did I miss that. So that's all we do. Hey, listen, your feet were like this, and that's what caused you to be off balance. Told him that when he missed Sam at SC. You know, he lost the edge of his cleat. That's what happened, Malik. It's not like, how come you didn't make that play? It's like, Malik wants to make that play, trust me. He does. You know, coach him up to what did I do wrong that caused me to miss it, and that's all we do.
Thanks, Coach.
You know, we've had probably two of the, I would say, close to the best practices we've had back-to-back. The intensity, focus, energy levels are really high right now, and I've been proud of our guys.
Tim, at this point, what does Armonte have to do to get on the field?
You know, I think you just got to keep working. You know, it's hard right now. Reggie's playing at a really high level. Gerard's playing at a really high level. These guys have been making plays for us, and they're being rewarded for all their hard work. And when they've been given the opportunity to make plays and do things, they've been able to do that right now. So, you know, it's just one of those things. You got to be patient, keep working. His time will come. I mean, there's going to be an opportunity. We're going to call his number to get back in there, and when he does, I hope he's ready to go.
Have you guys thought about, you guys have talked about him just not being as good at the moment as Reggie and Gerard. Have you guys thought about moving him to a different position?
A little bit, but I think right now, you know, as we go through the season and as we're going, I don't know that just moving a guy to play another, to put him in a position, because it's not like those other guys are playing that bad that we need to take them out. So it's not, I don't know how much sense it would make to take him from a position to another position to start if those guys are playing well too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things that these other guys are playing pretty good right now, so they're playing. They're the guys that are getting the reps.
Colin being moved down.
Yeah.
Had a bad game against OU. What does that mean?
Well, just, you know, again, we're rewarding the guys that continue to work hard and make plays and execute. And, you know, Dorian, and he's done a nice job. And those guys sub in and out anyways through most of the game. So he's been working hard and waiting for his opportunity, and he'll get an opportunity. And it also, you know, sends a message to Colin that he's got to keep working too now. I mean, we're not, it's a constant. You know, we talk to our guys every day about getting better. It's just, you don't all of a sudden one game play well and then you can just, I'm good. I'm going to play because I had one good game or one good day or one good week. It's an everyday deal. And that's where you're seeing some improvement by some other guys that are passing up some other guys.
You've given Chris Warren touches, you've given Kyle touches, you've given Talil touches, so it's not for a lack of you calling the runs. What needs to happen in that run game? Is that the offensive line thing? Is it running back thing? What do you see?
You know, it's a combination of all of it, to be honest with you. It's what teams are doing, the position of the game. You know, we got down early, 20-0, you know, young players up front, defensively, what teams do. We all know that, you know, it's kind of like the pink elephant in the room. We all know we got to run the football better to win the games and to control the line of scrimmage to allow us to be able to call what we want to call as opposed to here's what we have to do. And we continue to work and continue to get better. And, you know, it'd be good. Jake came back and practiced today. It was good to see him back out there and bring some, you know, some depth and some stability back to the O-line. And, you know, that's a patchwork group up there that's battling, fighting, and clawing and scratching for everything they do. And I love those guys. They work really hard, and we're going to continue to ride those guys, and they're going to continue to work to get better.
Do you feel like you can survive with Sam being your leading rusher every week, or do you need more out of your running backs?
Yeah, and we do. But also, you know, Sam's got to do a better job of pocket presence a little bit. I think he feels some pressure or some heat sometimes and just takes off, where, you know, a slide to the right or step up in the pocket and he's got an open guy. I know in my mind, there's a play that comes to my mind right now. We had an open receiver and he took off and ran and then threw the ball away. But he just felt that internal pressure and he ran it. Now, on the same token, I'm not going to take away a quarterback's natural instincts. He has to be able to go out there and have a feel and play the game. And right now he's been successful doing that. My job as his coach is to continue to show him, keep your eyes up the field, work your pocket. There's open receivers. Your 5-yard gain should be a 20-yard gain if you just slide to the right and throw the ball. So those are the things with the young quarterback you continue to work and strive on so he doesn't have 20 carries, because we didn't call 20 quarterback runs, but he ended up with it.
Tim, what can you guys as a staff do to avoid the slow starts? Is that more of a not scripting more?
You know, we script. It's the, you know, 2 of the last 3 games have just been different defenses. You know, and so there's a little bit of confusion within the, or I shouldn't say confusion as much as it is hesitation with guys. It's a different coverage, and you have a freshman quarterback that's done this, or it's a different front, and your guys have done this. So you think a team's going to be a 3-down, and here's your call, and all of a sudden they come out in a 4-down. Well, it's not as good a 4-down call. And, well, Coach, you told me to block down, and I did, and there was a guy outside of me, and blah, blah, blah. And so sometimes there's some errors that occur when all that takes place. So we kind of, this week, we practice against everything. Everything they could possibly even think about doing, we practiced against it.
Are you calling maybe short passes or check downs maybe for Sam that maybe he's missing right now just because he's a freshman?
No, I don't know that there's anything that he's missed like that. It's more of he goes back and he feels some pressure and he runs, more so than he's missing reads. I wouldn't say that he's missing very many reads. I mean, there's occasional, maybe 1 or 2, but it's more of just being in there. But again, I'm like I told you before, I'm not going to take away his natural, it's just the instincts of a quarterback. I played the position, I get it. You know, you go back and the coach and the fans, everybody says that guy's open, but the guy throwing the ball doesn't think he's open. Chances are he's not going to throw the ball because he doesn't think that's a good throw for whatever reason that is. That comes with confidence, it comes with experience, it comes with, oh, it's this coverage again, not, hey, coach, what are they doing? We didn't practice this because it's a new coverage. Yeah, I know, here's what they're doing, you know, kind of deal.
The fact that he led the the team back from down 20.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like that he's doing?
I love his leadership, his grit, and his toughness. I think everybody does. I mean, he's hard not to like. The way he plays the game, his emotion and passion for it. I love that about him. I love he's gutsy now. I mean, and I think our players, our offense feeds off of him. When he starts feeling it, and he starts feeling that rhythm, and he's running around like a crazy man back there doing stuff, you just start saying, oh, here they go, And I think early on he might have been a little nervous. I know in the pre-practice he missed all 4 of his throws, and I was like, uh-oh. So I had a feeling he might have been a little nervous going into that one.
Tim, over the years, Oklahoma State under Coach Gundy, they've gotten a reputation on defense for maybe taking more risks, being on the hunt for turnovers, things like that. What do you see from them when you?
Yeah, they do. They're aggressive. They're big. They're fast. They're athletic. Run the ball extremely well. And you're right. They come after you from a lot of different places. They show you a lot of different looks. We got to be dialed in this week for that.
I know, Coach Herman's talked about he's not big on time of possession, but when you look at kind of the plan TCU had, do you guys stress, time of possession and being successful on first and second down more this week than you otherwise would?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know that we stress time of possession as much as we stress success on first and second down. You want to be in those manageable third down situations to be able to convert, But obviously, the bottom line, we got to score. I mean, we all know that, whether it's this game, Iowa State, doesn't matter, Maryland, it doesn't matter. We got to score more points than they do, whatever that is. If it's 3, it's 3. If it's, 20, it's 20, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Is Sam better in 2 minute? Is he better in tempo than he
Yeah,
is?
I think a lot of times quarterbacks can be, because sometimes you get a little bit more generic look defensively than he does. But, you don't want to also go at a tempo that you hurt yourself. And again, especially when you got a young offensive line, they got to communicate their calls and the things that are going on there.
Coach, you rotate in your running backs. You also rotate on a lot of receivers. Explain to me the philosophy of that rotation as opposed to just keeping, a certain set of guys out there and saying you need to be what we consider to be our top, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I think right now we're playing a lot of guys. They're playing hard. I think we're rewarding those guys for being able to do it. Obviously, as the game wears on, there's certain guys we want in certain situations. That's I think pretty critical for us, and we all understand that. But at this juncture right now, it's getting those guys in, because you never know who's got that hot hand, who's that guy they can't cover, who's that guy that's seeing the holes really, really well. And so that's you kind of lean on that when that happens.
Are you getting last ones?
How's little Jordan Humphrey doing?
Good. I like him.
What do you like about him?
Yeah, he's just a really good football player. He's got good instincts, catches the ball well, and he can do a lot of ththings for us.
Are you getting enough out of your tight end position, the Cade and Kendall rotation?
We are. Kendall's been hasn't played quite as much because we've spread the ball out a little bit more. And, Cade's been a pleasant surprise for us. I love the way he runs routes, catches the ball. He's got good natural ability and instincts for us. So I really think he's been a plus for us so far this season.
Last one?
Coach has talked about getting Daniel Young involved in a game.
Yeah.
What does he have to do to get some reps?
I think, again, I've mentioned this before in terms of the coaches and the coaching staff. I trust Stan. When Stan tells us as an offensive staff, Coach, he's ready to play, he'll probably play him. At this point, he's not yet, and there's things between Coach Drayton and Danny that they need to get right. Not necessarily like issues between them, but if it's footwork or ball security or pass catching or protections, whatever those are, between Stan and him. He's a talented young man, and he's going to have a really bright future for us. But before Stan feels like he could trust him in the ball game, he's got to make sure he can do everything that we need him to do out there.
Thanks, Coach.